The following podcast is brought to you by the Johners Podcasting Network, found exclusively at WrestlingWithJohners.com. Hello, good evening. And welcome to everybody watching this wonderful live episode of Wrestling with Johners, episode 375, getting closer to that magical 400 episode. But today, as I have done since I returned in September, I have another returning guest here on Wrestling with Johners, but no ordinary guest. And in fact, ladies and gentlemen, no ordinary twat, because I've got a spectacular twat with us, none other than the reigning, defending Rixe Champion and one of the most creative minds in the wrestling business, Charles Crowley, the legend. How are you doing, sir? And thank you so much for coming back onto the show after 3 years. Can you believe it?
Hello, yeah, thank you for having me. That is just scary that it's been 3 years. It's crazy, but yeah, thank you. Lovely intro as always. How are you?
Good. And like I say, we've spoken to each other at shows over the years, and we've spoken about getting you back on, and it's finally happened. And I can't think of a better time to get Mr. Charles Crowley back onto the Wrestling with Johners podcast than now, because let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen, 2024 was an insane year for Crowley, and can't wait to take a deep dive into all of that. But first of all, for anybody watching us live at home, thank you so much if you're watching us live on Wrestling with Johners on my YouTube page, and you are welcome. But please, we are fielding questions. If you have any questions, any comments for the legend, for the spectacular twat, for Charles Crowley, then please send them through to us now using your chosen device. We'll do our very best to answer them during the course of this interview, and we have had quite a few questions come through already. But before we start asking Charles Crowley all them fantastic questions, just a quick reminder, now this is only my third interview of 2025. We're doing lots of other stuff, lots of other projects for various promotions across the UK. But my first interview that kicked us off back in January, a month ago, was Kid Lycos 2. Graced us with his presence. A fantastic interview, really, really good, insightful interview. And another individual that had a standout 2024. And then we skipped ahead a few weeks, and only last week, 7 days ago, somebody that Crowley knows very, very well, Hustle Malone, came on to the Wrestling with Johners podcast. Another gentleman that don't do many interviews, but he came on to Wrestling with Johners, spent a good hour and 35 minutes talking to me, everything about his return, about his physical transformation, about Sacrifice Pro, Wet Cake Pro, and all that good stuff. So go and check out those two interviews on whatever audio platform you're listening to this on, or of course YouTube. And don't forget to hit that like, follow, and subscribe button. But today it's all about this guy here, Charles Crowley. After 3 years, it was February the 9th, 2022, when you were last on the show. And when we did speak, I think you're only days removed from having just won the King of the Carnival, the Wrestle Carnival Men's Championship. And as we discussed off air before we went live, you hadn't yet wrestled outside of the UK. I think that was yet to come when you defended your Carnival Championship in the WXW ring against possibly Big Guns Joe. I can't remember. But that just demonstrates in a nutshell what a crazy 3 years it's been and how much you've achieved in that time.
Yeah, well, you saying that is just, it puts it into a perspective that I hadn't considered. Because I was thinking, no, surely I'd been abroad. But yeah, I mean, I take a lot of pride in the flags I've got in my social media bio. I love that. I just love that fact. But yeah, no, since then I've been to Dubai, Japan, like loads around Europe, Canada, the US. I've done loads, and I plan to do many more. I plan to go back to all those places again. So yeah, it's not like I've just popped over there and back. I've repeatedly gone. So yeah, there's a really lovely way of putting it.
Absolutely. We're gonna break down. We're gonna touch on all of that and many of the countries that you just spoke about as well. But and I was possibly expecting to speak to a very jet lagged Charles Crowley today. You do look a little bit blurry eyed. Maybe that's the contact lenses. I'm not sure. But so you only returned from your latest trip over to Canada yesterday morning. And you were over there last week. I think you performed Friday, Saturday, and Sunday over in Toronto, and Saturday and Sunday for Smash Wrestling, if I'm not mistaken. But you're becoming a bit of a regular over there. In fact, it's probably been a few months since you were last over in Canada, but since 2022, that magical year, once again, you've been over there on a regular basis, and it is becoming a bit of a home from home for you.
Smash is the best. Smash, you're right. It absolutely does feel like a home from home for me. And that's not just because the promoter is just Sebastian. He's believed in me. He saw something at me. So it's funny you talk about WXW Wrestle Carnival, because that's where he first saw me. And it's because of that. So, big up Gary Ward, because, he gave me that platform. And that platform got me seen by Smash. And, Sebastian, ever since then, has been a huge advocate of me. He's supported me, and he's been, a fantastic friend as well. So he's brought me to Smash thinking I'll do well. And I have, which is the beauty of it. So I feel like I'm repaying the fact I'm not, I'm going over there and people are talking. People are happy that I'm there. People want me back. People are like, when's he next coming back? And, I understand that it can't always be, all the time, but the locker room there is amazing. And their locker room is so full of talent, and they've got I think Sebastian's very good at like nurturing, what makes people unique. And he makes sure shows are like full of like variety. And so he's done a really good job there with his roster, because they're lovely people as well. And they make me feel at home. I totally agree.
Absolutely. You've had a lot of success over there. You've really become one of the staples and a big fan favorite over there. But one thing that's missing, I don't think you've won any gold over in Canada. I don't think you've ever won any championships in Smash Wrestling yet. What's going on there, Mr. Crowley? And I'm sure we will talk about you as an international champion very, very soon. But surely you want more international gold, starting with that Smash Heavyweight Championship.
Well, I'm trying, Jonas. I've had one opportunity at it so far, and that was against Psycho Michael, that prick. And up until then, I was undefeated. I was smashing it at Smash, and but Psycho Mike is just a different beast. How do you deal with Psycho Mike? You'd think you'd understand, because he does the same thing every time, and he body slams you. But at the same time, you never know when, you never know how. And it's I learned a lot from Psycho Michael. But this is the case, and that I'll just keep going back. But I agree. I've made it very clear I want the Smash Wrestling Championship, and I will get it, and I will post this clip up one day when I get it, so they can know that I've wanted it the whole time, and I said I was going to get it, and I did.
There we go. Things that have been said on this podcast over the years have manifested into reality, and things actually happening. And I seem to remember the last time you were on, you started to throw shade at Alexxis Falcon before you even had your first match with her. And then you look at the rivalry you had, and then the partnership and everything that went down. So this is the place to be if you want to manifest things in the future. Now it's out in the universe, Crowley.
Well, apparently so. If only I had a cider. Oh, sweet. Jonas, can I drink this?
You can indeed, you can. And you can swear as well. So
oh, shit.
So I'm going to bring up some graphics. There's some match graphics from your encounters over the weekend. But I also want to bring up these pictures here. And I don't quite know. You might have to add some context. And it's a still from a promo you shot after your match on one of those matches over the weekend. And that does bring us to our first listener question of the day. Here we go. From friend of the show, Richie. Are we seeing the emergence of a slightly darker and more out of control Charles Crowley, especially after what we saw happen for Smash Wrestling? So he's obviously referring to them pictures. We see the dark contacts there. We've seen many manifestations of Charles Crowley over the years as well. Are we going through a change once again?
I don't know. That's the beauty of it. So you can call these contacts if you wish, Jonas, but I can call them a representation of my mood isn't the word, but something's going on inside me, inside my brain. A lot of it happened actually over 2024, and it's just coming to fruition in 2025. It's materializing in 2025. All I know so far is that I trained with Tajiri. I asked Tajiri if he'll teach me his green mist. He said, you can use it if you can figure it out. And I was like, Tajiri, you piece of shit. No, he did give me the green light for the green mist, and he said, yes, of course you can use it. And I was like, you legend, because he is just an incredible man, and I appreciate him a lot. He taught me a lot in a fairly short space of time. Like it was a month, but like in the scheme of things, like it's a short period of time. And he taught me so much, and I'm honored to have that nod of approval to use the green mist. I've used the green mist once. It's a lot harder than you'd expect. It's a lot harder to I've not once achieved it in the way he does it. He is a pro of the green mist, and since I've used it, I just feel like, there we go, beautiful timing, Jonas. Since then, I feel like it worked wonders, but it's just kind of been simmering, and my brain's been going, and something's just been changing, and I've just been having all these kind of thoughts, and it's all just happening now. It's kind of distracting me a little bit, but we'll see. I think you need to, it's one of those where it's like, just tune in, see what happens, and so will I. We can watch together.
Absolutely. Now we did have the pleasure of bumping into one another and having a bit of a chat in the Electric Ballroom before unboxing 29th of December, and we had a little bit of a chat. And one of the things I mentioned to you as we were kind of reacquainting ourselves was 2024. You don't seem to have been as active in 2024 as you may have seemed to have been previous years. But when you look at your body of work in 2024, I think it's possibly your best year ever.
Well, I agree. So I could not agree more. I had a very, very personally stressful 2024. I was very fortunate outside of wrestling to secure a very, very, very cool job that I cannot wait to announce to people. I think I'll be able to announce what I did around June time. And I'm very, very excited to let people know about that. But as fortunate I was to be in that position, it took up a lot of my time. And I mean, like, the days were very long. I'd get home just to be able to sleep and then go back to work for about 6 months. So I was very fortunate I got to go to Japan for a month before that started. And actually that was a problem with this, but we discussed all this. And I managed to do my very best to keep wrestling, because I need it to keep me sane as you want to call me or think I may be. And places like Riot Cabaret, I could make work, and thank goodness, because again, my journey with Spike Trivet has been it's developed me greatly in every single way possible. And the crowd were there with me the whole time, and that was something I'll never forget. And it's really, really enhanced me and as a person, as a wrestler. So I'm so grateful that I could wrestle as and when I could. But I completely agree, when I did wrestle at OTT, Danhausen, there's been like several places, Germany, France, and so much has happened. But when I did wrestle, I felt like a different me. I felt like, because I was just so desperate, like to get out there, and my energy was just like, pow. And because I was forced to rest, my body felt better. Because before then, I'm very fortunate that I get to wrestle every weekend, pretty much. And I was a bit battered, and I just hadn't rested for a long time, so it forced me to rest. But here we are, and now I'm resting too much again.
Absolutely. And I think, as you just pointed out, that rest probably did your body good. It is probably what you needed at that time, really. And also to get your body and your mind back in the game. And I think you've come back fresher and better than ever. And one thing you have accomplished, we spoke about you becoming more international over the last 2 or 3 years. And one thing that has been a result of that has been this here, becoming the Rixe Champion over in France. And it all happened, I think, quite recently, possibly as recent as December. This match here are some stills from one of the videos on your Instagram and some pictures to follow it up. But you looked incredibly happy, relieved, over the moon, joyous to become the Rixe champion, and the response from the fans, they were truly stood up, jumping up and down, hugging one another, Mr. Crowley. It was a fantastic response. But I know Rixe Catch, we spoke about Smash Wrestling a moment ago, being a bit of a home away from home with how often you've been over there in the last few years. And I know Rixe has been a place that's become very, very close to your heart over a similar length of time. And it's all culminated not only in you becoming a fantastic fan favorite, crowd favorite over there, as the pictures would demonstrate, but you also became their champion December, didn't you? So a fantastic occasion. What did that moment mean to you?
Oh, that moment was, I mean, sorry, my brain gets full and words spurt out. It meant a huge amount. For them to believe that this guy should be the face of their company, let's put him in that position and see how he does. And then I went there, won the championship. The reaction was what it was. Hopefully that proves that it was the right decision. And my opponents so far, again, have been phenomenal as well. Like, they've got some really, really good talent there. Rixe is a very cool promotion. So to be the face of such a cool promotion is like, whoa, does that make me cool? I don't know. Maybe I've made it lame. I don't know. But too late, I'm the champion. So it means a lot to me. I love going over there, and I plan to defend that championship and leave a good, strong list of entertaining, unique batterings, during my journey as champion there.
Can you explain the connection and the relationship you have with the fans over there? Because I've seen the match, I've seen the clips, and I've seen the response of the fans afterwards. As I explained, they were literally hugging one another and jumping up and down for joy when you won the championship. That must have meant a lot to you, not just having won the championship, got that 3 count with a belt in your hand, but the reaction from the fans as well. They've really taken to you over there, haven't they?
Yeah, seemingly so. And I think that's so cool. I think I heard a lot about early days before I won the championship that France, the shows aren't as frequent as they are in England. We're very, very lucky that we've got so much wrestling. But because of that, the French fans are just, their energy is already like at the top. Like, me not being able to wrestle as much, it's the same as them not being able to watch it as much. So when they're there, they've got all this energy like stored up, which is badass, which is a testament to the UK fans, because they still give the energy as well. So what does that say? They're wild. Maybe drugs. But the French fans, like, they'd say like, you're such, a breath of fresh air, like just because like the style of wrestling in France has been a certain way for a long period of time. Yeah. So for someone to come in and, I don't know, talk the way I talk, move the way I move, and then put on, hopefully, top quality matches, then they're like, whoa, who's this guy? And I've been very grateful for that. And I think they can tell that I'm happy to be there, because I absolutely am.
Absolutely. And I'm going to bring up a few more pictures. And there you are with the quite fantastic Rixe Catch Championship there.
It's cool, isn't it?
Looking pretty damn sexy, if you don't mind me saying. Yes. And but speaking of success in 2024, we've got to talk about this here. And we're going to skip back nearly a full 12 months now, Mr. Crowley, back in the Electric Ballroom. I believe it is February 2024, when yourself and Alexxis Falcon, I think maybe in your second match of the day. And I was there. I think you may have faced Danny Black and G Money earlier on in the show. And then you was surprise opponents for the Smoking Aces. I think the crowd called them something different on the day. But that was a surprise for all of us. But not only that, more importantly, and historically, yourself and Alexxis became the first ever male and female tag team to win the Progress World Tag Team Championship. So not only a fantastic occasion, a momentous occasion, a historic occasion, and I'm sure an occasion that it still lives very fondly in your heart, even today, 12 months on, Mr. Crowley.
Yeah, even you saying that, I feel it. Like it just kind of shoots through my body, because I remember when we won them, it was just, how do I put that into words? I know I like to talk, but that's so difficult, because it was just an incredible feeling. Like it was somewhat of a surprise to us. Like, we went with intention, but it's a tricky one, because that meant everything to us, and actually those championships meant everything to us. But we were also really aware that like we were having so much fun. And because we were having fun, we were enjoying it. Because we were enjoying it, we were doing better. We were performing better out there. We were badass. We'd also trained our asses off to make sure that we actually could hang there. And I don't mean hang there in regards to us as individuals, because we know we can more than do that. And I truly do believe that both her and I respectively will be singles champions at Progress. But as a tag team, we were still so new. And so for us to be like, one thing we're good at is putting ourselves in positions to succeed. And that was one of them. And guess what? We succeeded. Do I think we should have had them longer? Yes. But ultimately, that's always going to be on us. What can we do? So, I believe one day we'll win them again. And I look forward to it. But until then, time for a solo journey.
Absolutely. Let's bring up some more pictures. And there you are, matching outfits. The crowd absolutely adored you. And the response you got when you won the championships was incredible. And I think that was possibly the same night that Kid Lycos beat Spike in the steel cage match. And I think that the response for your title victory was just as loud and just as raucous for what Kid Lycos got at the end of the evening in the cage match. But you did get the opportunity to defend your Progress World Tag Team Championships over in Philly, didn't you? WrestleMania weekend. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that was possibly your first match, your first venture as a professional wrestler over to the States, and the same for Alexxis as well. And being able to defend your Progress Tag Team Championships over there during Mania week on the GCW Collective for Progress, of course. Now, it was the match where I believe you lost your championships to Big Damo and Axel, but just getting the opportunity to be out there and to defend your titles in the States over Mania weekend, and that crowd, it was huge. I remember speaking to Memes, because he was part of Joey Janela's spring break against Matt Cardona, and I think you probably watched that match. But
I don't think that was Memes. I think that was Blue Kane.
No, it wasn't. It was Blue Pain. WWE,
yes.
if you're watching, yes.
Edited.
Don't cancel the Wrestling with Johners. That was Crowley's mistake. but no, you are right. But the crowd over in the Penn's Landing Caterers Centre was huge, and I'm sure that you felt every second of that atmosphere out there. But in your own words, what was that like to defend your championships over there, considering the occasion and kind of the worldwide audience watching as well?
Bittersweet. Because obviously we lost, and that, unfortunately, because it's such a big thing to lose something like that for the championships that meant so much, you can't help but think of that day as a well, I personally can't help but think of it as a bad day because I just can't. However, before that moment, knowing that there's this big crowd with all these eyes on us, seeing like, right, well, who are these two that don't know us, and the ones that did were happy to see us, which was cool as well. There was a lot of US fans that were like, I followed your journey, and it's very humbling when you do that, when you go to another place not expecting that, and then someone says something like that, and you're like, wow. Like, you don't know who's watching. You never know who's watching. So just keep doing your best and keep putting your best stuff out there, and the response will come back. It was amazing. It was so in that sense, it was incredible. And obviously we're up in that match with two of the best tag teams in the world. So, what you're going to do. But in that sense, great experience.
Absolutely. And you obviously got fans from all over the world there. You got obviously your US fans, your US audience. But you got fans that travel from all over the world to that sort of event. And I'll be traveling to Vegas in about 68 days time, 67 days time to witness my second ever Mania, and I can't wait. But there's obviously going to be a lot of fans out there that maybe have read about you, seen you, maybe caught you on some wrestling show over here in the UK and thought, what's this guy all about? What's this tag team all about? Who are the cheeky little buggers? Did you get a lot of curious fans, or a bit of curiosity from the fans over there, and wanted to get to know you a lot more? And maybe it's an opportunity for you to spread your fan base, build more of a fan base over on US soil.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I dress how I do. That's why I look different. That's why I act different, because I am different and I like that I'm different. So the benefits of that is that people ask questions. People see me and go, who's that? The amount of times after shows, it's like people go, I've never seen you before. that was awesome. I'm following your stuff now. Like that is you've won. That means you've done well, and you always have that. They can never take that away. And first impressions are a big deal. So that was very evident from that trip. And what's also evident is that I need to go back to the US. And I have my visa. It's all sorted. So that will be a matter of time. Who knows when the first, announcement's going to pop up in that regard. But, I have to go back and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I mean, Progress are going to be part of this year's GCW collective, aren't they, Mr. Crowley? So who knows? 1 minute to midnight. Let's see if I can stay awake that long to see the Progress show go down over in Las Vegas. But I'll definitely be there for sure.
Nice.
But hopefully, if you still got your valid US visa and you've not been barred from the country yet, maybe we'll see you as well. Who knows?
Maybe you will, Progress. But I don't like that Progress posted that Simon Miller is going to be there, and he's got the Proteus Championship on his graphic, which I think is bullshit, Progress, because you don't know that. So that's going to be funny when they have to change that. I guess it is just a graphic change, but they won't like that they have to change that.
Well, let's talk about that now, because there is no better time. Because on Friday, the 14th of February, at the Bowlers BEC Arena, For the Love of Progress 3, you will be taking on Simon Miller. Now, I don't know if you've seen the breaking news. I do have my scouts and my spies out there that send me stuff all the time, and this was sent to me just before we went live, but it's been announced on Progress socials. You fans have voted, the people have spoken. Simon Miller versus Charles Crowley for the Proteus World Championship will be contested under winner must win by WWE finisher rules. Prepare to be entertained. So WWE finisher rules, do you know what that might entail? Could you add a bit of context? Have you been filled in? Was that breaking news for you as well?
I've been filled in, Jonas. Goodness,
well,
that's really rude.
It's not past the watershed yet.
Yeah, well, clearly, gosh. No, I saw that. I did see that, and my brain has been racing because I need to think which WWE finishers suit the way I move. But the issue with this is that it's not fair. Simon knows all the WWE finishers. He knows all of them. And I just wonder if that means he can just bash them all out, And also all these people have been talking about how, because I do a beautiful jackhammer. Some call it the Twat Hammer, and it is gorgeous. But everyone's been pushing Simon to do one, and should he do one? I absolutely agree he should. Look at the size of the man. He should absolutely lift someone as high as he can, and then come down on them as hard as you can with a heavy ass body like that. He's 57 stone, Jonas. So if I'm just very, very wary of a jackhammer. So, and also very curious if I can hit the jackhammer on him. We shall see.
The question is, have you mastered the roll up yet? Because that is one of the most dangerous and deadly WWE finishers of all time, of course. So I'm sure you're practicing that as we speak on a daily basis. The roll up. But speaking of 2024, Alexxis Falcon, and it was at the very end of 2024, and I mentioned about unboxing the 29th of December when this happened, and it was I was speechless when it happened. Nobody was expecting your opponent at unboxing to be Alexxis Falcon, the Iron Queen. Here are a few photos here, courtesy of Michael Baker, my good friend on Facebook. And you can see how much that meant to you. More importantly, you can see how much that meant to Alexxis Falcon. It was a very emotional day. The response she got from the fans when she came out, because she was away for 6 or 7 months out with an injury. And nobody was expecting it. She even said that she wasn't expecting to return until much later, into 2025, let alone at the end of 2024. And for you to be her unboxing opponent, or for her to be your unboxing opponent, I think was very poetic. And just an incredible occasion. And it capped off what was a fantastic 2024. But in your own words, I mean, you were there, and I could see that you were elated, happy, chuffed, emotional to see Alexxis come out. But tell us how you felt.
She John Cena'd it. you know, she came back earlier than expected, earlier than she was told she could come back. That woman is really, I wish people had an insight into how hard that woman works, because I think people get carried away by all the Disney bollocks she posts. But like, you know, she's got all this like adorable, like, you know, content that she's pushing out, but wow, like how hard she worked to rehab. So, you know, that's something I really struggle with. I'm, you know, sticking to like, I do my best to, you know, stick to routines and all this kind of stuff, and I do quite well. But she's literally like, if she's told like, look, this will get you back as soon as possible, that's all she needed to hear. You know, when it comes to wrestling, that woman is just like, this is my thing, and I'm going to be successful in it. So she did so much rehab, and I saw that, and it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. It was so hard. She cried, she yelled, she screamed, she was frustrated. But also, not only did she like sort out her injury and do that, but she also very carefully trained before that, of course, to make sure she was ring ready. And also just look at her physique. Like during that whole time, she completely changed her diet. She changed some bad habits, and she's in the best shape of her life right now because of all that. So while obviously you never wish anything like that upon someone, it's like lit a fire under her. And it meant a lot to me, because when that music hit, I just know she's going to be successful. And it's like, right, here we go. This is the beginning, and this will forever be the beginning of, you know, the most successful year of her career so far.
Well, let's talk about that, because we've just mentioned that you're going to be gunning for the Proteus World Championship, the Proteus Championship that Simon Miller currently holds, but come Las Vegas, you may well have around your waist. But you both spoke after that match at Unboxing and said that for now, you know, the cheeky little buggers are on hold, and you're going to be going after your own individual success in a Progress ring. We know what your sights are set on, Mr. Crowley, but Alexxis, she very much deserves a crack at the Women's World Championship, which is something she's not necessarily had fairly before. Do you think now is her time? Could 2025 be the year when we've also got Nina Samuels as champion at the moment? Formerly, it was Rio. So you've had some fantastic names there holding the championship. Will Alexxis Falcon, you know, be one of those in 2025?
If she can get around the issue of, you know, there was some kind of political thing where she lost a match and wasn't allowed to compete for it.
Right.
If she can sort that out, if she can deal with that, if she can get around that, and then there's nothing stopping her. And I really, really, really do believe that she will be Progress champion. It's just a matter of when.
Absolutely. Well, but based on the fan reaction and the response that she got in the ballroom last December at Unboxing, she's very firmly the fans' champion already. She's the people's champion. So there we go. It's just a matter of time, I'm sure. Just a few comments that have come in already, and let's have a look. Wrestle Snaps, who do take some excellent photos at TNT shows. They've sent in a question, or more of a comment. Crowley is my favourite in British wrestling and an absolute star. Looking forward to seeing him at Progress in Manchester next Friday, as we said, the 14th, when you're shot at Simon Miller's Proteus Championship. Let's have a look. We do have a question from Wrestle Stamps. Let's start asking the question. Question for Crowley. Any wrestlers on your radar that you would love to face this year? So obviously we are only into February, you know, the 5th of February. So we're scratching the surface of a new year. And you've faced a lot of incredible opponents over the last few years, and we'll touch on a few of those very, very soon. But 2025, is there any fresh opponents or any opponents you'd like to get in the ring with domestically or abroad?
Domestically, yes. I mean, yes, there is. There really is. Interestingly, though, I wonder if it's anyone people will think that I would want to wrestle. But one of the top guys is Connor Mills. I think Connor Mills is such a badass. And I think I love the way he fights. I love how focused he is. And I think Connor Mills is the perfect example of someone that probably, absolutely, underestimates me. And I think that is perfect, because that means I'll win. I just think, you know, when I'm put in the ring with people like Mills, that kick the shit out of people, not only do people see that I can take a beating and get back up from it, but also I can capitalize on that. You know, that it highlights my strengths just like it highlights his strengths. I think Conor Mills is sick. I think Conor Mills is sick. I really enjoy watching him wrestle. So I would love to go in there and make him look like an absolute bellend and kick his ass. Both the Lycos boys, respectively, I think they're both great. So I think one-on-ones with them would be awesome, but they're always just hanging around each other. Who else? Do you have any thoughts, Jonas? Anyone you've thought of?
Let's have a little think. Well, you faced the biggest and the best names across, many countries already, but I'm sure one will come to me.
I might come back to that. If a name pops up in my head as we're talking, I might scream it.
Very interesting.
Also, if Wrestle Snaps is still watching, they are fantastic. Amazing photos.
Indeed. Shout out to Wrestle Snaps. Rich has been in touch again, and let's have a look. One of his favorite moments in 2024 was watching Alexxis Falcon's return at Unboxing and getting the win in a fantastic match. Thank you, Crowley. And he does kind of throw a little bit of a curveball here. And myself and the Twat Nation would 100% love to see Charles Crowley in this year's Progress Super Strong Style 16. Now, I know that you've been in Super Strong Style 16 tournaments before. I definitely remember the encounter you had with Charlie Dempsey. What was that, 2023? Yeah. Could we see Crowley back in the tournament for 2025? And if so, based on everything you've learned about the tournament and how you've grown as a competitor, how do you see your chances?
Well, so I'm glad you've mentioned Super Strong Style, because the first time, it was Charlie Dempsey, I think 2022. I might be wrong.
Really? Wow.
Only because, I think that maybe I'm wrong. But, I was... I wouldn't say in over my head. I deserved to be there, and I tell you what, that year I really did deserve to be there. But just look at me now, like, come on. And so I was eliminated in the first round in that, and then the second time I did Super Strong Style, I was eliminated in the second round against Mark Haskins. But it was progression, and would I have liked to have won it then? Of course. However, I can't not celebrate the fact that I got further. And I just think, I think actually 2 years have gone by since then. I'm sure I wasn't able to do one, and it killed me, probably because of this outside job, and it really, really upset me that. But I absolutely deserve to be there, and I need to be there because I just know that I'm so much better than before. So, if I was eliminated the first time, and this time that time I was eliminated the second, then I just know I'm going to get further, and I just believe the possibilities are endless. So it's interesting. Earlier you said that my sights are set on the Proteus, because of course, oh my God, I also think it's one of the coolest belts but I can't deny, especially for my creative brain, because of its whole gimmick. But what I can't deny is that I'm going to be the best, and I'm going to be the best in my way. Do you know what I mean? So to do that, I need to be Progress Champion, and it's a journey. It's a journey that I'm still on, but I'm absolutely going to get there. And I think Strong Style is something that I've got to win. I've got to win it, because it's just such a clear proof that I'm getting better, and I'm so much better. So I have to win it, Jonas. So yeah, I mean, I'll be there, and they better put me in it. I don't know what else to say, because they'd be nuts. They'd be nuts not to put Charles Crowley in Super Strong Style. They'd be nuts.
Well, let's talk about your growth then, because I first started. You came onto my radar directly after lockdown 2021, and so I've watched you closely. We've become kind of good friends, and I've interviewed you more than anybody that I've ever interviewed ever.
Nice.
But your growth has been noticeable over the years, to the point now where maybe it's starting to kind of get to a point now where there's like marginal gains there that maybe only you're seeing, you know, as the months tick on. But where do you feel you've grown the most over the last couple of years, say from Strong Style 1, 2 through to possibly being into this year in 2025, that could make the difference? Well, how different is Charles Crowley now compared to a couple of years ago that could make all the difference?
The focus is completely different, and also athletically and technically, I am far more superior. Like I just know more of everything. I understand the industry better. I understand what I'm doing better. I just know so much more. I have so much better understanding of the body and which way it bends, or even better, which way it doesn't bend. And the moment I've like learned these things as well, I'm like, that's amazing. And then for some reason, the way I do it is just in a way that only I can do it. It's just the way I am. It just makes it mine. And I've become obsessed with bettering myself. I'm obsessed with progression. And if I'm not progressing or don't feel like I am, I get really in my head. And that happened a lot last year. Like I may be putting on some of the best matches easily the best matches of my career, but I was getting frustrated because I wasn't being able to get out there as much and as frequently as I want. I was just stuck in a training ring as and when I could, just kind of keeping myself fresh. I worked really hard, Johners. I worked really hard. And, you know, it's one of those things that you don't shout, you know, yeah, of course you do. Sometimes, you know, oh yeah, training and all this kind of stuff, but it's something that will only show when the big one happens. And then people go, whoa, they've won the big one. And then they realize, then they're pushed out of it, and they see the journey that you know so well, and they see the progression. And if you watch my matches, you can see it. Technically, I'm far superior. The energy in my body, how I'm quicker. I react quicker. I get up quicker. Everything about me is more ready to fight, more ready to win, more ready to react. And that's without a doubt, that is the case. So all it is just it's a case of who wants it more now. And my fire just gets, you know, brighter and brighter. So
absolutely. I want to talk to you about Japan now, because you were out there, I think, over June last year, and I'm going to bring up some pictures here that might bring back some memories. And you might need to kind of tell me or spell out to me the name of some of the promotions that you worked for. But I think you worked about 4 or 5 matches across that 3 or 4 week period that you were out there. But a fantastic opportunity, and not only did you get to perform, you also got to train under the legendary WWE superstar, the Japanese buzzsaw Tajiri, of course. Now, I got a chance to interview Tajiri once at the Chinatown Hall a few years ago, and little did I know that he was going to do the entire promo in Japanese. And there we go.
Nice.
Thanks, Tajiri. Yes, he certainly got me there. But tell us first of all about getting that opportunity to go over there, because I know you worked Tajiri for a UBW show. Was it 2022? Was that when your relationship with him started, and was that when the journey that eventually landed you in Japan started as well?
Yeah, I could definitely say that's when it started, because he'd worked me. He knew I was good. He knew I was capable, and he knew that he could mold me and work with me. So yeah, I mean, you know, literally UBW, Paul Ash, Justin Feller, they gave me that platform. And again, luckily I capitalized, and Tajiri was like, whoa. And he was like, you get it. Because I remember he was like, right, let's go out there, wrestle, here we go. And I'm just like, oh, well, here we go. But, you know, it was incredible. I learned loads from that one match. So to think I learned loads from that one match with him, you know, whatever, 15 minutes, and then spent a whole month with him, it's very, very cool. But yeah, you know, I sent him an email. I said, look, I'd like to train with you. And he was like, absolutely. Here are the dates. Here's this. Can you do it? And I went, yes, of course. I will make sure I can do it. Yeah, I wrestled in Fukuoka, Tokyo, Osaka, Nagoya. I wrestled for Choco Pro, which was amazing. Aki, like the promoter there, he taught me loads as well. Even just from like a really like, just a conversation we had, and he was talking about my balloons, and you know, I only pull out the balloons when I'm dead serious. But he was just talking to me about, like, you know, the weight of how important they are, and you know, how they actually can, you know, these are really, really going to help you win. So back them. And I think there was a time when I was like, oh, you know, I probably shouldn't do the balloons anymore. Because, you know, I have to just, you know, get your fists out and go. And he was like, but this is like one of your massive strengths, and you can blend the two. As long as they allow you to get the upper hand, they are so beneficial. So a conversation with him was actually amazing. And ironically, in my head, I came out from Choco Pro, which is such a funny you know, promotion to watch, feeling more like a legitimate fighter than ever, because while it is funny and entertaining to watch, it is so legitimate. Everything they do is very, very legitimate. Even the silly stuff is all to win, and I love that about wrestling. I think that's so cool. So I learned loads, not just from Tajiri, but the other trainers at Kyushu Pro, you know, Aki, and, you know, Shigehiro Irie, and loads of people. So I came back just knowing so much more.
And I'm going to bring up this picture here because I was watching some videos, and it looked like even your strikes were pretty. They were hard. You know, certainly you talk about Japanese strong style, and I think that you certainly bought into that while you're over there. It's like, you know, hit and get hit sort of thing. You know, you couldn't pull any of your punches or your chops or your elbows while you're out there. Did you feel that was something else that you kind of adopted, certainly while you were out there, was kind of that strong style mentality?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at some of the first few years of my wrestling career, I'd say quite a few. My strikes were one of the worst things I had on me. Like, for some reason, I just attacked someone like I was made of, like, I was like a rubber band. I was just like, and I watch it back and I'm like, why? How did I not know how to throw a strike? Like, you know, I'd been in fights before, so I knew what I was doing. But at the same time, when it came to wrestling and the context of it, they were crap. But that's one thing now that I actually get told, and people are like, oh, whoa, you hit really hard. And no one ever expects it, because they just see me going, oh, no, whoopity boo. And they're just like, oh, yeah, he's whatever. But, you know, there's a person here that's put themselves in a position to fight you. Why are you so surprised when I fight you? I'm also not a small boy. I've been gymming for many, many years. So, yeah, and then when you go to Japan, you kind of realize the weight of one really well-placed strike. So you don't miss that opportunity, because you've got an opportunity to hit someone and you can, that could change the entire match. So you've got to make it count.
And so I've asked similar questions during the course of this interview, but did the fans get the character? Did the fans get the gimmick? Did the fans get Charles Crowley? Because I know that some Japanese wrestling audiences are quite straight-laced and very, very serious, but it looked like some of the promotions you were working for was a bit of a variety mixture, and probably appreciated what you brought to the table.
Well, you say that they're straight-laced, but I think it might be a factor of just the culture of how they watch wrestling. Because you know, I went to a few promotions that were, you know, wanting to see some fights, but they all want to be entertained. That's why they watch pro wrestling instead of MMA. Do you know what I mean? If you want to watch MMA, you watch it for a different kind of entertainment. You watch pro wrestling, you watch it for a different kind of entertainment. So I think they totally understood Crowley, or if they didn't understand me, which I can't expect anyone to understand me, but I'll never forget in Kyushu Pro, the debut, where I stepped out and there was so many people there. I can't remember how many people, but it was I think someone said to me like 700 plus or something, like. And for Kyushu Pro, I was like, I don't know. I guess I didn't expect that, and it was insane. But I stepped out, and I literally heard a collective "ooh," and I was like, "That is so cool." We're talking about like that, you know, first impression. These people were just so like, "Who's that guy?" And I love that. And it just means I'm doing something right. And then the performances were strong. I was really happy, and I kicked some ass, and they all really enjoyed it. So yeah, it resonated very well.
Absolutely. Going to bring up this picture because I neglected to earlier on. Who is that gentleman on the right-hand side? Because he certainly looks like an interesting character.
That is Crazy Monkey. He is just a very, very, very well-known like deathmatch hardcore wrestler, as you could probably tell.
Yes.
By the indents all over his body. And it was very cool to meet him because he's Crazy Monkey and I love monkeys. And I have a lot of traits of myself that I would associate with monkeys. And I always want to lean into that. I want to lean into that more and more and more. Yeah, I just think he's really cool. So for me, that was a proper fan moment. And I was like, oh, you're such a badass. You look cool. You move cool. That's what I want. And I don't know if I certainly haven't met anyone more legitimate than him. So it was very, very cool to meet him.
And I know you love learning about new places and new cultures. Did you get a chance during your free time to learn about the Japanese culture? I'm assuming it's your first time out there. And if so, what did you enjoy most during your free time about learning about the culture, the food, the places, the travel? Tell us about your experience out there.
Well, first of all, the food was the best thing I've ever tasted. Like, as in actual, just the quality of it, I cannot express. It literally made me think there's no good food in the UK, which of course is not the case. But especially in Fukuoka, it's a countryside place. So that, like, literally, they're like, sorry to vegetarians or vegans, but they were like, we've just killed this cow, eat it. And I'm like, whoa. So it was just so insanely delicious. A lot of people out there were interested in the size of my penis. That was something I noticed. I literally got asked by people that I had no idea. I was in a pub, and these two Japanese guys, they're like, hey, are you American? And I was like, no, English. And they're like, oh, whoa, do you have a big penis? And I was like, whoa, hi. Yes.
Find me a meal first, please.
Yeah, exactly. But that happened a few times, and I was like, whoa. Also, I went just for like, I went to explore. I did a lot of walking in Fukuoka. You kind of like, there's a little bit less than there is in Tokyo, really, as you imagine Japan. But I went to like the main city, and I just thought I went down this street, and there was women either side with loads of prices. And I was like, whoa, prostitutes everywhere, Johners. And I was just walking along, and I was literally like, there are so many. And I kept walking, and they were like, a meter away from each other. And I thought, there can't be that many prostitutes. And it got to a point where I was like, something's up. That these aren't all prosies. And then I asked someone, and they said, no, it's Japanese culture that you pay for like, basically like, let's say an hour of bar time. And you go and sit at the bar and you just talk to this woman. And I was like, oh, right. And they're like, because like Japanese culture, I think the work culture is so tough and so hard that there's this like escape where it's just like, I just want to talk to someone that's maybe not my wife and get things off my chest. And that's the impression I got. And I thought that was wild. I thought that was so cool. So yeah, that was interesting. What do you think about that?
Very interesting. Yes.
And she wasn't a prostitute, but I got to hang out with LA Taylor, which is always nice when you're with someone from the UK.
She was out there as well, and I got a chance to speak to LA Taylor about her Japanese experience. Go and check that one out. But changing subject, so we spoke about kind of the growth of Charles Crowley, and you're very kind of. We do see a lot of, especially for anybody that follows your Instagram page. There's a few posts about your physique and how you do work out. You take a lot of pride in your physique. Not only do you have tremendous gear, but you work hard in the gym as well to maintain your look. My question is, with your busy schedule, traveling around the world for different wrestling promotions, working within the film industry as well, do you find it difficult to kind of maintain consistency with regards to keeping your kind of physical appearance at its peak and just generally working out on a regular basis? Is that sometimes difficult for you?
Well, not when you have steroids, Johners.
Well,
yeah, just inject loads of steroids.
Let's say a few push-ups in the corner and
then 10 steroids.
There you go.
The answer is yes, Johners. It's very difficult. No steroids, promise, just creatine. It's really difficult. It's really difficult because I do a lot outside of wrestling that actually supports my wrestling. So for me to be able to wrestle, I have to do all this other stuff. But gym is something that's just consistent for me. even if I have like a bad workout, I still have a workout. Never happy to have a bad workout, but sometimes it gets hard, especially the way my brain works. I think of I just think of a lot of things, and my brain works very quickly, and it's very scatterbrainy. So I think if I'm at the gym, I'm like, oh no, I need to do this for this promo, or this graphic, or this, or this. I struggle to focus on it, but I also just have to keep learning, keep reminding myself to shut it all off, because when I do, I'm so much happier, Jonas. So I find time for gym, and I think everyone should find time for gym. I know it's not so easy sometimes. People think they don't have the time, but 100 press-ups on the floor is way better than doing nothing. You can do that every day. Do you know what I mean? So there's always something you can do, and I make sure to keep that up, because I take a lot of pride in my physique. And I think if you're going to prance around like I do and mess around and chat shit like I do, you've got to be able to back it up. So I think I will always have a solid physique in that sense, that that I can use and use well.
Yeah, but absolutely. Like I say, it's always intrigued me that with your busy schedule here, there, and everywhere, traveling far and wide, and working within the movie film business, that it must be difficult to kind of maintain that consistency. So I'm glad that I asked that question. Let's go back to some more listener questions, listener comments, and we've got Zilla watching us live at home via YouTube. Thank you so much, Zilla. Hi, and I respect and appreciate the imp of professional wrestling, Charles Crowley, legend, and I am a big fan of Charles Crowley. So thank you very much, Zilla, for watching and for tuning in, and we appreciate it. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Right, let's just see where we are. This is going to be a favourite topic of yours, Riot Cabaret. I know that we spoke about them briefly earlier on, and they've been around for a few years, and you've been very much a part of the fabric of Riot Cabaret since they began back in 2022. I think you've only missed maybe one show from the Clapham Grand in London, but it's a very unique promotion that I think a lot of wrestling fans kind of sleep on, to be honest with you. It draws a very wide mix of wrestling fans and non-wrestling fans as well. Talent from all over the UK and further afield, as demonstrated by their women's champion Thunder Rosa at the moment. But it really does offer a fantastic variety wrestling show, which I think is perfectly suited to a Charles Crowley. But I know that you know, Riot Cabaret is very, very close to your heart. But explain to the viewers at home why Riot Cabaret is so special to you, and why it is such a special group to work for.
So Riot Cabaret, if literally you make a promotion called Riot Cabaret, and your creative aims are for it to come across a certain way, and as the way that it's presented now, it's like it's built for me. And I think they were aware of that from day one, and that they've brought me in and they've said, look, this is what we're going to put you in these situations. And they're creative minds. They're really, really good, but they don't hinder you. Just because they've got their own ideas doesn't mean you can't offer yours as well. It's the perfect combo, because I've got loads of ideas, man. I've got loads of ways I want to do things and say things and all this. But they're so open to it, and it would just work really, really well together in that sense. And I was talking earlier about the UK fans having so much wrestling they can watch. This is where Riot Cabaret excels, because they are so commercially viable that they let all these people in that let them in because they've paid. But that maybe aren't used to seeing this. And then the wrestling fans are with fans of just, I don't know, whatever it is, theatre, or maybe they're fans of drinking, but they're all there, people from all walks of life. And it gives the wrestling fans new energy, because the energy really feels like there's so many people that haven't seen it much before. They haven't seen it every single week. Maybe Riot's the only show they go to, if that. And then the wrestling fans, there's more and more coming. You're right, they are sleeping on it, because it's a phenomenal show, and it is the epitome of what a variety wrestling show is. They've got top quality, like work rate matches, as you want to call them. They've got all sorts of characters, and they highlight that as well. They've got people on really intriguing journeys, all displayed perfectly with beautiful promos and promo packages and just great production value. I'm very fortunate to be there, and I love it, and I love the crowd. The crowd have been really good to me, considering I'm a twat. So yeah, it's an incredible promotion, and I'm very proud to be a part of it.
Going to bring up some pictures because you've had a story of
Oh,
rivalry and partnership with Session Moth, and you were the Riot Cabaret Tag Team Champions with Session, and there you are. And of course, your feud rivalry with Spike, which you said yourself has helped to develop you as a performer and as a wrestler, and as kind of helped to bring you on as an overall talent. But we are kind of looking ahead because I think you've got a first-time encounter coming up very, very soon against Nina Samuels, February the 11th. I don't know why I nearly said November there, but February the 11th, which is just 6 days away. Now, with everything you've kind of gone through in a Riot Cabaret ring, I think this is possibly your biggest encounter, your biggest challenge to date inside of a Riot Cabaret ring. And Nina Samuels, well known for being the belt collector of British wrestling and the longest reigning champion of any description in a Riot Cabaret ring. But I think when you've got two talents such as that, Charles Crowley and Nina Samuels, two fantastic characters and two fantastic characters that can go in the ring, I think that's going to be a fantastic match that's, the fans are really looking forward to, and I am too.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that because, while I have to attack her viciously soon, I'm a big fan of Nina Samuels. I'm also a big fan of Cassius. Them together is a scary thought. But no, I'm very much looking forward to it. Nina's a bit of a bell end. There's a lot of bell ends out there. Nina's probably one of the biggest ones. But yeah, just with Cassius there, I've got a lot to think about because she's really strong. Have you seen her shoulders? For goodness sake. So yeah,
she definitely doesn't miss Jim's gym routine, gym consistency. She's there on a regular basis. I know that for sure.
Takes steroids probably, like many 20 of them, and creatine. No, she's an absolute beast. And also that's you talk about like Moth as well. She's in like the best shape of her career now as well. Like everyone's proper up in it in regards to gym, and because Nina's a good example. Nina's always just had like massive shoulders. She's going to tackle me. If she hits me with a spear, I'm done. But I'm very much looking forward to that match. Nina has been she was the champion for how long? Like absolutely ages. So yeah, that'll be a test, and especially considering this all comes after everything with Spike. I'm a new me, so I'm going in there with something to prove because this, for me at Riot, is the beginning of my next chapter.
Absolutely. And I want to touch on two kind of other highlights from 2024, and one is going to be the Buried Alive match against Memes for BZW, and they're another French-based promotion. But I spoke to Blue Pain, and apologies if I mentioned Memes. Who's that guy? I think he goes by the name of Tom nowadays. I don't know. But Blue Pain in a Buried Alive match, and I don't think even the balloon could save you there. But that must have been a first for you. And considering your kind of long-term friendship with Blue Pain, having that kind of a match over in BZW in a Buried Alive match as well, that must have meant a lot to both of you to have that moment together.
It was very cool. I'm pretty sure Blue Pain's dad was in the audience and he saw me squeeze Blue Pain's bum. So as you can imagine, that's a really big moment for both of us. Huge kudos to everything Blue Pain has done, because he was like in the ring with Kurt Angle, Mick Foley, Zack Ryder, like so cool, like so many of us. I know we're all out for ourselves, and we can support each other and all this kind of stuff, but it is kind of like we want to be there. Of course we do. We're happy for our friends, but we want to be there. But that is a good example. It's like, whoa, I'd love to be in those positions. And thankfully, I find myself in them every now and then. So I'm very, very grateful for that too. But like, wow, like so cool. And that's all a testament to him and how he's like, got that out there and everything he's doing out there and got the attention of people overseas. That's so cool. So yes, it's very, very cool to wrestle him. Like the most successful I think he's been yet is there. So to wrestle him there, Bang His Own wrestling, and especially in a Buried Alive match, very cool. The balloon nearly got me, but he is a Kane variant, so I feel like I'm not too sad I lost that, because to lose to a Kane variant is still fair enough. It is a variant of Kane.
Absolutely. And I'm learning more and more about the European wrestling scene all the time. And I didn't realize that Hungary have a little bit of a scene as well. And here are a few pictures from your time out there, your debut over there. Now, you might need to enlighten us to the name of the promotion, but once again, a pretty packed audience, and let's say some fantastic. Was it Peter Tiani that you wrestled over in Hungary, who I know kind of is fairly well known, fairly big on the European scene, but wrestling over in Hungary, another great opportunity and another fantastic debut in 2024.
Yeah, that was very cool. That was HCW. Again, huge crowd.
Yeah.
700 plus, I think it was, and a really cool crowd as well. And they've got like a proper like TV deal, everything. That was so cool. So I was very, very happy to be there, and I'm very proud of what I did there in that match. And Peter Tiani is he's one of those that he can go. He is fast, so it's up to me to slow him down, because by God. But he's very good. Obviously, I mean, he's WXW champion. To go toe to toe with him is just tremendous. I'm always learning and all this kind of stuff. So I learned a lot from wrestling someone like him as well. But I thoroughly enjoyed that. And again, the crowd there, just the European crowds, there's just something different about them. And I'm not saying they're like better, because like each crowd has like their own pros and cons. But the European crowd is just like, it's like they're almost like fans that haven't seen wrestling before, just how like the way they present their energy, and it's very, very cool. And that's great for me, because I feed off that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. But like I say, I'm learning about all these fantastic scenes across Europe, and like I say, and kudos to Hungary for having a fantastic scene and getting Crowley over there as well. Now, when we last had you on, we did speak about your kind of love and your passion for TV and for filmmaking, and being an actor, being a director as well, being a storyteller behind the camera. But tell us a little bit about some of your up-and-coming projects, because I did notice on your socials a certain newly signed WWE star, Jordan Grace, with some horns on her head. You got Harley Hudson over there on the left hand side, but you have been doing some filming with those two, especially with Jordan doing some fantastic stuff, entering her second Women's Royal Rumble this past Saturday. But how did that opportunity come about? And tell us a bit about that project. I know you wanted to kind of divulge a bit more about that.
Well, yeah, what I do, it's hard to talk about, because I'm kind of not allowed to until like a certain deal comes about. But this is my second feature film. My first feature film is Drive Me to the End, available on Amazon Prime, and it touches on like thank you. It touches on like autism and communication and how people talk and stuff. And I'm very proud of that film. But that film had a budget of like 15 grand, right, which was all my savings at the time, and some local investment, right? This film will have a budget of like 140k. So in the real world, that's a huge amount of money. In film world, that's still not a lot. Do you know what I mean? That's still like, it's like shoestring budget, which blows my mind. But I've been very fortunate the first film did well, because then people saw it and were like, whoa, we want to invest in you and your manic brain. So that's exactly what I've done. I've created a second feature film, and it is so weird, Johners. There are scenes in this film that you will have like never experienced. Just like you're watching and go, I've never seen anything like that. How did he even think that? And I tell you how I did it. I just did it, and it's one of those things where you say things and you're like, well, obviously I won't actually do that, but I actually just do it. I brought in some amazing names. I've got Matthew Horn, who is Gavin from Gavin and Stacey. Bill Nye, is involved in the film, and obviously he's like a British legend. So that's amazing. And yeah, and Jordan and Harley for that matter, I just think they're stars. And so I got in touch with both of them. And I said, look, I'm doing this. And it's so interesting because, you know, people that aren't used to the acting world, they're a bit like, well, what does it mean, all this? And I'm like, I'm trying to sell them on a dream, because I know this could be huge, like huge. And, you know, I want to add to their star power. And I think their star power will add to mine in regards to filmmaking. But Jordan was real keen. She was so lovely to work with. She had a really long flight, and she was knackered, and she was feeling it on the day, but she worked her ass off. And she was awesome, as did Harley. And but she was amazing. She was so kind to everybody. And yeah, she absolutely deserves all the success. I just knew it. I just knew, like, when I brought her in, I was like, she's going to get signed by WWE. Look at her. Look how she moves. Just look how she presents herself. Look how good she is at marketing herself. And she's also full of charisma. And I just wanted that charisma on my film. So, yeah, I messaged her and she was interested. And I appreciate that she has, you know, she believed in me enough to be like, I trust this guy, because she must know that she's going on to big things. So it's very, very cool that she's like, I trust, you know, my image in the hands of this guy. And I think she'll be very happy with the outcome.
And is it a film that's going to appeal not just to wrestling fans because of the inclusion of Jordan Grace and Harley Hudson, but is it got a wider story that could appeal to everybody?
Oh, hugely. Yeah, no, it's all about second chances. It's like if Labyrinth met Lost, the TV series. Imagine that kind of vibe. And it's just a, you know, a story of like kind of, you know, you feel like, yes, that whole thing of everyone deserves a second chance. Like, we're all human. We all, you know, mess up. And I think, especially this day and age, there's a lot of like finger pointing and blaming and like, you know, for right or wrong, you know, people are just kind of like, it's like everyone's the law, and it's just like we should all help each other a little bit. I just think people should like be supporting each other more, and we're all human, we're all flawed, so like we all go through these journeys. And what this film shows is like a multitude of people going through these journeys, learning about themselves, and then it's kind of like, now which one of these people deserves that second chance? You know, have they learned the lesson that they're supposed to learn from fucking up in the first place? And hopefully it's just a really fun, entertaining, honest journey for people to follow. And it's so weird and it's so fun, but the message is quite deep. And I like doing that with films. I like presenting it and sparkling it as like, oh, this is such a fun thing. And you go away really thinking. Like the film Jojo Rabbit, like you go away and you're like, oh, that was so funny. And then you're like, oh my God, actually, that's really dark. And I've never stopped thinking about the film Jojo Rabbit. And that's how I want people to leave the cinema, because this film will be in cinema, which is very cool to me.
That's very cool. And what's the best way to kind of find out more about when this film is going to materialize? Is there a website? Is there social pages? What's the best way to find out about how this film is developing and when we might actually see it at the cinemas?
The only way at this point is just to follow me on my social media, because even I don't know. Like the process at the moment is like polishing and painting and talking to places, and you know, who knows? Like this is the kind of film that could be on any platform. So it depends what kind of platform picks it up. So in regards to specific timings, I don't know. Just follow me on social media, and you can bet I will be. Oh, is it down there?
Scrolling along the bottom as we speak.
Oh,
but
nice.
we'll get into that in a bit more detail. But thank you very much for giving us a little bit of a glimpse into what those posts were all about and what we can look forward to in the future with Jordan Grace and Harley Hudson and Bill Nye and Matthew Horn and various others. But before we finish this episode of Wrestling with Johners, I do have a small bone to pick with you, Mr. Crowley, and this might explain what I'm on about. And Crowley sends through another message, but a bit more serious this time. In all seriousness, stupidly hardworking, more now than ever, an absolute star in the making. But enough about me. Alexxis is great as well.
I hate him.
I honestly thought for a second he was being genuine.
I did. I'm going to smack him when I see him.
Oh, God, Crowley. Unbelievable. What a twat. What a twat.
He is. I've sang his praises on this as well. Little rat.
Unbelievable. Right, that's enough. I'm not showing any more of his comments. Mr. Crowley, can you explain yourself, please? I loved your questions, your comments scattered in throughout Alexxis Falcon's interview there, but that last one had us both fooled. So thanks, mate.
Look, here's the thing, Jonas. I thought it was funny.
And it was.
The end.
It was hilarious.
It really made me laugh. Like, and you know what's funny as well is I remember sending the first one, and I genuinely meant it when I sent it. I didn't know I was going to send a follow-up. The moment I sent it, I was like, ha, ha, ha. And I really enjoyed watching both your reactions. I was literally on my own. I always feel like if you find yourself funny, you'll always be in good company. Do you know what I mean?
But you have me fooled, and I brought them comments up without fully understanding what was going on until it hit me square in the face like a shovel. But there we go. So we mentioned it earlier on. Your socials are scrolling along the bottom of the screen, and the best way to find out more about you and about your up and coming projects are all scrolling along the bottom. So you are available to kind of reach out to and to see what you're up to on X, Instagram, and Facebook. So tell our audience at home where we can reach out, say hi, and learn more about the Spectacular Twat.
Yes, Instagram and Twitter is at Crowley Carnival. My Facebook as well, but I don't use it as much, if I'm honest. So honestly, they're the best, and you will see posts for my film because in not too long it'll be in some very well-known magazines and some big places. So you'll see it. Like even if I wasn't telling you about it, I reckon you'll hear about it. So don't worry about that. But in regards to my own personal journey within the wrestling ring, Instagram, Twitter, they're your best bet.
Awesome. But let's not leave it as long next time, Mr. Crowley. It's been nearly 3 years to the day. Let's get you back on in, say, a couple of years and to have a bit of a recap as far as your journey. See how far across the globe it's taken you. But I'll keep my fingers crossed that you win that Protest Championship on the 14th. I'm also keeping my fingers crossed that you'll be defending it over in Las Vegas, hopefully on the Progress Show as part of the GCW Collective. But from myself, thank you so much for being a great friend, a great guest on episode 375. But Charles Crowley, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jonas. Bye forever.
And we'll catch you soon. Take care.